The abortion debate in this country has been pretty crazy for quite some time. In fact, we haven't actually accomplished anything useful in terms of legislation since they passed the safe haven laws quite some time ago, which had bipartisan support both from pro-life or anti-abortion, depending on what you want to call it, and pro-choice people in Congress. And that was quite some time ago. And there's a reason for that. That's because the debate really isn't a debate. I mean, you have people screaming about how birth control is abortion and people should be allowed to get abortions until, the day before they're going to give birth. And things are pretty crazy. So I guess this really shouldn't have surprised me. But I was a little taken aback to discover that Rehumanize International, which is a pro-life group, not just pro-life, that's the reason why they're called Rehumanize International, they're actually a human rights group who is attempting to be pro-life across the board, attempting to be pro-life in terms of not just abortion, but in terms of being anti-war, being pro-environment, and a lot of other issues. Which is why I was kind of taken aback to discover that they'd been excluded from 3 different marches. The first being the Women's Day March, which they apparently tried to help sponsor, but they were turned down, as well as another pro-life group called New Wave Feminism, which I knew was at the march because I saw pictures of them with their signs, but I was not aware that they were also excluded from being sponsors for the march, because apparently you can't be pro-life in any respect in terms of being anti-abortion and be pro-woman too. Like I was saying, there's this one extreme to the other. It's pretty crazy. So they were excluded from that. They've also been excluded from the Thomas Merton anti-war march. They were going to help sponsor it, and then they were told they aren't allowed to, which is extra weird because if you know anything about Thomas Merton, which you might not, but he was a priest who was in favor of protecting all life, even life that you don't agree with. So, telling someone that you don't agree with them, therefore they can't join in your march, is really kind of against his principles. Good job, guys. And then there's also the march to ban the bomb, which is coming up, and they've also been informed that they're not allowed to join in that because of their anti-woman stance of being anti-abortion. Wow. Really? How is this country supposed to continue if you guys are behaving like this? Seriously, if you can't agree with someone who doesn't agree with you on everything, but they already agree with you on something, if you can't work with them to reach out to someone who is on the same page as you with everything except for one issue, just one, there's no hope for this country. And like I said in my previous video, you liberals don't get the freaking moral high ground just because you're not the ones who put Donald Trump in office. You don't. And you aren't acting like you deserve the moral high ground. Deserving the moral high ground would be working with these organizations to help promote peace. How do you hope to promote peace if you can't work with somebody who you disagree with on one issue? Just one. This is insanity. And I'm really losing hope for our country now. And it's not because of the conservatives. It's because of you liberals. That's really, really sad.